Hey guys, Tim Lerch here. This month on TrueFire, it's Rhythm Month. And I'm going to talk about kind of some swing ideas for accompanying with bass lines. Something like what I'm doing now. Swinging, chord, punctuations, and let's get to it. We're playing this tune, Autumn Leaves. It's a neat tune to play because it's in a key that lives sort of in the center of the guitar. I'm playing it in G major / E minor here. And it's also got a 2-5-1 to major and a 2-5-1 to minor in the course of the tune. So whatever you learn on this tune, you can apply to many, many other tunes that have those kinds of elements. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at, by the way, if you have a real book chart or something on this tune, it might be helpful for you to have the changes in front of you. The basic changes are A minor to D7, to G major to C major, sort of a diatonic cycle of fourths until then, and then 2-5 into E minor, so F sharp minor 7 flat 5, B7 to E minor, quick little E7 to turn us back to A minor. There's the second half of the tune, but basically the second half of the tune just flips those two things around pretty much, and there's a little turnaround at the end. So as far as the harmonic content, I want to keep it as simple as I can so that we can get to the rhythmic part. So we're going to have each chord is going to have two voicings for the first part of this. A minor and a first inversion A minor, D7, I use D9 there, and then D9 here with an F sharp in the bass, and then some kind of G. I use either G major 7 or G major 9, and then a first inversion G major 7 down here, which leads us very nicely to C major. I like C major 6. I'm not crazy about major 7th chords unless the major 7th is buried in there nicely. And then E minor something, E minor 7 or E minor 11, which represents C 6-9, C major 6-9. And then F sharp minor 7 flat 5. I'm sometimes going to use C7 as its flat 5 sub, or I might play this first inversion. It looks like an A minor 6 chord. Maybe I'll play it down there as well. Then B7 flat 9 and D sharp diminished, which is also known as B7 flat 9 with no root. Then back to E minor, and then E7. So we're going to play in what I call a two feel. Now we're going to get to the rhythm part. So the two feel is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But that's a little boring. So we're going to put this little triplet feeling behind it so that it sounds a little bit more like this. These little pushes. Now we use a different set of chords. So it's I like that pa-poom, pa-poom, pa-poom. Imagine an upright bass player playing a medium tempo. So probably can hear my foot tapping on the beat. 2, 2, 3, 4. Hear that feeling? That's such a nice feeling it generates. Then, of course, you don't want to do that like a machine because then it'll get boring. Even if it's really cool, it'll still get boring. So occasionally, we can fill in the gaps between those two inversions and play a brief little bit of 4/4 time in there, just to give some pushes around the corners. So want to get that, what I call a 2 feel. Other people might have different names for it, but if you tell a bass player to play in 2, that's probably what they're going to do, a jazz bass player anyway. So we're using inversions to set up good movement. So if we have, notice how we're approaching, a lot of times we're approaching the new chord from a half step below or a half step above, and there's a lot of different strategies you can use for that, but generally speaking, you can approach any chord from a half step below or from a half step above. Use your ear, and mostly we're interested in that nice groove. Once you have a 2 feel going, you can very easily make that become a 4/4 feel by playing the note in between the 2 inversions. Okay, now the walking bass line is a study unto itself. Again, content is not as much the focus of this lesson, but when I'm playing a walking bass line, there's a couple of little things about the physics of the guitar, as I kind of have come to understand it, that it's good to keep in mind. It's very common for people to play that kind of almost a polka feel where you play, the chords are only on upbeats and the bass notes are very short. That might be a way to get started, but it's not very musically pleasing. If we understand that the string is in motion, and we don't want to interrupt the motion, we want to just push it along. Okay, now the last thing we're going to talk about is what do you do with those chord punctuations, because this is a very important subject and often kind of confusing. So the first thing we're going to do is just put the chord on the 1 of the first chord of each pair and then let it ring. So we're going to say like this. Very easy. A little boring, but very easy, and also good sounding. I find that I don't like it when the comping gets too chicka-chicka, too busy. You want to lay it in there and make it smooth. If there's an opportunity to get rhythmically involved, you want to be able to do that, but not as your default position. You want to basically see what you can do to make a nice, smooth delivery. So then the next thing is to play that long 1 and then an and of 3. Okay, so you have then that lot. I was doing that too, is a and of 3 and then the and of 4, and then let that one ring. So ta-boom, so that the fingers come just before the bass note. Overall, we want to make those chords punctuations sound something like what we would do if we were comping. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, so then we add this bass line. There's melodic continuity, ba-dee-da, bo-ba-dee-da. There's rhythmic continuity as well, and then there's a motif, ba-ba, or ba, ba-ba. Just long tones on the downbeat, then I think it smooths the whole thing out and makes the upbeats more effective. Okay, so give that a try. I hope this was helpful. 1, 2, 3.